Today my plan is to explore Piru Creek, but right behind me we have Lake Piru, which is really beautiful, a really nice place. I haven't been here in a while. And actually driving up the road there, I saw like a super bloom of poppies. Didn't stop, but I felt like this view of the lake, I just had to kind of stop and show y'all before I really got started. But yeah, so I wanted to stop by a spot real quickly. Any spot actually, but I think this will do. One of the many hill slopes here where you just have a bunch of California poppies, you know. And I wouldn't even say this is the best slope, but it's nice, and they're kind of pretty densely together here. So there are definitely more slopes there, and some even better spots further back that way. I suspect that there are some nice ones over there too. But yeah, I thought I'd show you all this really before I get going. While I'm in the area, I figured I'd stop here very quickly. This is a nice little I think sandstone sculpture commemorating Juan Jose Fustero, the last of the Piru Indians. He lived from 1841 to 1921, you know, so good long life. But yeah, anyways, I could kind of see from above when I was driving down that the creek level, it's high, but like not high everywhere. So we'll sort of see what this looks like. If worse comes to worse, I could do the Pothole trail loop, but I'm hoping to go up Piru Creek. We'll see what happens. Right now I'm at the parking area for the Pothole trailhead, and I think I actually might do that instead of doing a huge thing at Piru Creek. That being said, you do have to go just a little, you have to go back to the main road and slightly further up the canyon to begin the trail, and I'll show you all that. But yeah, I just don't know how much further I'd have to go to really get to where I want to start in Piru Creek, so I think I may try that some other time. This is that road closure I was talking about, and the trail starts right about there, so not too far away from the Pothole trailhead, which is why I think it makes sense. There's a little sign right there, but I think this is fine to take. If I remember correctly, this trail does start off quite steep at some point, maybe not immediately here, but it's a good one from what I recall. At this stage, I'm not gonna stop a whole lot, especially on the steep section. But I figured I'd get y'all a little bit of a view here to show you how green it is, how beautiful it is here. The parking area is down there, you know, and but yeah, this is just gorgeous right now. Very green, good time to explore this trail. Now you can sort of see the lake right over there, Lake Piru. But yeah, I thought I'd show y'all that the lupins are blooming, you know. Nice to see. Not a whole lot yet, but they're there. And then right over on this hill slope, there's a bunch of mustard grass, the yellow stuff. So nice to see that too. Haven't really seen a whole lot of mustard so far here. But yeah, anyways, further up we go. All right, I am approaching the ridge top, and we're getting some nice lupins here actually. These purple flowers, you know, very beautiful. I think there's some yellow ones behind me too that are peas, but yeah, anyways, getting up here, actually this time a lot easier, a lot more till than it was last time I was here. And I think that's because it was just midsummer actually. All this was dry, and it was like, you know, high 90s, maybe near 100. And so it feels a lot worse, a lot more steep. And don't get me wrong, it is kind of steep, but not really all that bad. So yeah, anyways, almost to the ridge where I think I traverse a little more and descend into the potholes. So that should be fun. Here we have some bush poppies. Definitely get more of these in the San Gabriels, but yeah, very beautiful yellow flowers. All right, I'm at the ridge now. That's the Piru Creek side. This is the other side. But yeah, I ran into a guy kind of coming down the ridge, and he told me he was at the potholes and that I should just keep going, I guess, left along the ridge. So yeah, we'll see if this gets there. I think I did the opposite last time, but it really has been quite a while. So yeah, anyways, here we go. Actually, this is familiar to me. So this is the Sespe Wilderness sign behind me, and I have been here before. I went a good ways down. I'm definitely gonna go farther today and kind of loop around. I think the creek is Agua Blanca. Maybe if it's not, I'll change the name here. That loops back to Piru Creek, but yeah, this should be neat. I'm expecting to see at least a cabin, some ruins, and some really nice narrows, but maybe a few other things. So that's what I have coming up. I'm about 80 to 90% sure that that is the Pothole. And if you look it up online, I don't think it's most pictures. It mostly looks like this, but I believe sometimes that depression there will be filled with water on a wet year. So it's very likely that if I had come here in 2023 or maybe even 2024, that could have been full of water in the spring. But right now it looks pretty dry. Anyways, I think the descent kind of takes me over that way, but I don't know, there might be a connector here. So if it looks like I have time, I might check it out. I think that's the Pothole I'm going to descend into. So the other Pothole further over that way, but this looks like the area that the cabin's at and some springs are at. So yeah, almost down there. At this stage, it kind of looks like there are maybe 3 potholes. That was the first one I saw coming down. You do have this kind of meadowy area, this patch, and there seems to be a little pothole spring over there. So I might check that one out. And yeah, the one I just saw that I'm definitely going to be going into is over there. So yeah, this looks all pretty neat. I'm in that big grassy pothole, kind of, I guess, the middle one. And right now I'm just off trail trying to find that like vegetated circle area just to see what that looks like up close. You know, there was a small circle with a lot of vegetation, so I think I see it right now. Again, there's a lot of trees here, which kind of obscures the view as compared to above, but if I'm not mistaken, it should be right in front of me. I think this is it. So I think it's just kind of a dense patch of vegetation, you know, might not necessarily be spring related. Well, it probably is, I don't know. Yeah, that actually kind of looks like it might be. I don't think I'm gonna really try to bushwhack through all of this right now. It does kind of look like a sensitive area, but yeah, still pretty neat to see. For context, everything else is really dry here. So that was neat to look at. I think the next few things we see, depending on what they are, maybe a lot more cool. So expecting a cabin and some narrows, as I said earlier. All right, this looks like a little campground here. You know, there's I don't know, some wood, maybe kind of fashioned into a bench here. Little campfire with a grill there, and most importantly, we got this cabin here. And some neat little artifacts, actually. So, not sure what this was. Some sort of plowing tool, maybe. You know, some neat wheels here, maybe a plow type device. Got these gears, and yeah, this shed, of course. Real nice metal shed. Must have survived for a while, but yeah, looks like some more gardening stuff. A little bit of graffiti here and there, nothing too insane. Someone left a tarp, which is nice, and there seems to be this wooden stove. I'm not sure if I would use it now, but yeah, anyways, pretty cool, you know. Some vandalism here and there, nothing insane or hideous really, but yeah, anyways, very neat. I've known about this cabin for a while, but last time I went here, I didn't really make it out here. So, you know, that was that hot day. I was kind of unsure about the spring, and now it's very cool to check it all out, you know. And the spring is flowing back there, so I may purify some water real quick. But yeah, I'm gonna get a few photos for sure before I continue. This is the Pothole Spring, and there is water there. However, there's kind of a bunch of poison oak here. I could definitely make my way around. You know what I may do is just fill up a little bit here and then try and go down there to Devil's Gateway and I think Agua Blanca Creek and maybe fill up more water there. When I step in here, it gets a little murky, and I don't want to filter anything too murky. You know, what I scooped up here is actually pretty clean. You know, so yeah, here we go. Gotta purify my water. All right, it was good to fill up my water in that spring, you know. It is kind of early April, so I don't know how long that'll last in the summer. However, from what I hear, that there are these trip reports people do and sort of comment on the status of the spring, and so I might do that unless someone else has done it recently. But I think in the summer that I tried coming here, I think that I don't know if it's, they said it was dry, but knowing that this spring can dry up just made me hesitant to make my way down to this cabin, given how hot it was. But yeah, now it's pretty nice. And by the time I get to Agua Blanca, there should be a lot of water there. So right now I'm kind of wading in the creek here. And we're approaching the narrow section that is Devil's Gateway. I don't think it's particularly long, but from what I heard, it's very beautiful. So yeah, and so far definitely looks really gorgeous. Gotta be careful here. A lot of rocks. But yeah, anyways, yeah, this is just magnificent. I'm gonna try to get a better view for y'all of the entrance though. So let's see. Maybe I'll film myself walking through here too, but yeah, very, very neat here. Very cool. I'm gonna stop and get a few photographs briefly before continuing on. This one's kind of been on the bucket list for a bit, and I know further upstream there's a spot called, I think, just Big Narrows. So, at some point, maybe if I start earlier in the day, I may do that, and then come back this way. Or if I decide to backpack. I know a lot of people backpack here. But yeah, now, anyways, I'm gonna get some of the narrow section on footage for y'all. All right, very beautiful here. It's very similar to the narrows near Falls Gorge, actually, at Piru Creek. You do have the conglomerate formations, here, all this rock kind of cemented together. And yeah, wow, okay. This looks really nice. But yeah, as far as I know, there isn't a nice big waterfall here though, which is one of the things I was gonna try to see today if I was able to drive further. There's this little spring-fed pocket here, so it's kind of neat. Kind of a trickling spring. So take a look. Yeah, so not quite a waterfall, but sort of things here. Yeah, I'm gonna go and get a few photos here and keep filming for y'all. I can see why they call this the Devil's Gateway. It really looks like a gateway here. But yeah, anyways, gonna rock hop down, get deep into these narrows here, really nice. Wow. So pretty incredible. Yeah, I got another wading section here, but this is just spectacular. I'm gonna need to get a few photographs real quick again. Very beautiful here. Yeah, this is just a real nice treat. This section doesn't go on for very long, but I may just do a little cool down here or a cold plunge. There are a few pretty nice water holes here, and yeah, I might just soak for a bit. And there are also quite a few little cold springs, I guess. To my knowledge, none of these are hot, but yeah, anyways, I might film the rest of this section and then do a quick little dip real quick. Yeah, so very beautiful, especially with this calm water here. I bet after a storm, the flow here gets pretty crazy. It must have taken a lot to really carve all of this section of the, well, it's not that long, but it is quite deep. So yeah, all right, this is looking nice. I might, as I said, take a little dip somewhere, maybe even here. Might grab a snack. I don't know, but we'll see. Actually, I'm gonna go back there and do it. Not a huge section of narrows, but these are really magnificent. I don't really know if the camera or the iPhone's really capturing it, for what it is, but yeah, just having this nice shady area, this cool pool here I'm gonna soak in real quick. Really incredible. And to be honest, the water is really not all that cold. You know, whew, I am breathing a little bit, but compared to some spots, this is actually quite nice, I'd say, for this time of year. It's not obvious how much of the runoff here is snow melt, so that could be part of it. And I may be pretty far downstream from the highlands, but yeah, anyways, enough of that. I'm gonna do a little cold plunge. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Whew. Yeah, good stuff. I'm gonna chill here for a bit, I think, and then grab a snack and keep going. But yeah, this is quite the treat. It's neat how these springs just kind of flow out of these cracks and fissures in the rock. You know, you got them on both sides, and you know, algae, plants just growing on them. So really wild. But yeah, gorgeous too, by the way. Looking up the narrow section here, it's just you know, there are places like this around SoCal, but not a whole lot of them. So I like to enjoy them when I'm here. All right, I did start late, so I think I'm gonna just do my snack real quick and then keep going. But honestly, if I got here a little earlier, I'd spend a lot more time in these narrows just chilling, you know, because yeah, it's really nice. Even, you know, this time of year, springtime, you know, it may be a little cool in certain places. Here, it's just phenomenal. Today's snack is gonna be avocado and chips. I also brought some trail mix, but you know, that might be a little later on. Anyways, this is a classic for the YouTube channel. Here we go. That was really good. Avocado and chips really does it for me sometimes. Anyways, I'm gonna try to like waterproof a few things, like car keys, you know, maybe my wallet. I usually have my phone in this these days, but especially for, you know, a spot like this, given how uncertain I am about the conditions, I think it's good to keep things in a dry bag that you like to keep dry. In addition to me, it looks like other people do come here. I know people come here, but I don't know how frequently people come here. So I saw a few cars at the parking lot, and it looks like there may be a few people maybe doing what I'm doing. So who knows? Maybe this is a more popular trail than I think, but I've only seen one person so far. So I got us a neat little water snake here. You know, not sure how the footage was, but yeah, there he is. Pretty cool little guy, you know. I'll let him go here. Yep, there he goes. If you do wind up finding a water snake like that and catching it yourself, just so you're aware, you know, that one was a baby and didn't really excrete anything, but some of the adults, I think, excrete this kind of bad smelling fluid on your hands, probably to deter predators, right? If I don't know, a raccoon or maybe a bobcat, I don't know what's going after these snakes, but you know, something like that, if one of these critters stumbled upon it and then tasted something that disgusting, I bet they would spit it out. But yeah, as I believe, I'm not really sure if the babies know how to do that yet. Also, there does seem to be an actual trail in this section. It's going along the canyon right now. Still pretty close to the creek, but I don't want to veer too far away from the creek, to be honest. So if this goes too far, I'll probably backtrack a bit. There do appear to be some nice pools down here, but it's really neat that there's a trail here. This actually saves me a lot of time, and it's very good because I did start late, and I thought I'd be mostly like in the creek, and that just winds up slowing me down a lot. So, you know, while it's fun to explore the creeks, and I probably will do more of that here, this is good. I won't be out past dark. I decided to get off trail briefly to take a quick little dip in this pond here. You know, it looks pretty nice, but yeah, anyways, the creek is very beautiful. The trail up there really follows along it quite nicely, and I gotta say, like, I'm very happy to know that trail exists because it's really saving a lot of time. All right, here we go. Woo. Oh yeah, that is great. You know, it's April, so not quite summer yet, but I bet this is a nice kind of early summer spot too. The water is phenomenal, you know, nice and transparent. So yeah, anyways, I gotta dip my head. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whew. That is good stuff. This has actually been really quite a treat. You know, I'm happy I decided to do this today. As you recall, maybe my initial plans at the beginning of the video were to actually go up Piru Creek, you know, but due to the fact that that road was closed, I decided to switch up my plans, you know, and definitely worth it, I'd say. You know, earlier this week, you know, I never really know quite what I'm gonna do. I was thinking about going out to maybe the Santa Ana River near Seven Oaks Dam. You know, and there was that line fire closure for a bit. It I think officially ended on March 31st, but I called the National Forest, San Bernardino National Forest, and they said that the spot I wanted to access was, you know, like they were trying to extend it, I guess, you know, and they were just waiting for the signature of a judge. So, you know, I may have still been able to go legally, technically speaking, I don't know. But yeah, I just felt like it didn't really make sense to kind of park on something that might have been closed and yada yada. I just, you know, I think it's kind of a gray area. So this was nice, you know, and for just so you're aware, if you decide to come here, I think Lake Piru, you have to pay maybe like $14 for day use or something, which is really well worth it. I love that area, those facilities. I've gone quite a few times. But if you want to go to the Pothole Trail, which is this loop I'm on, if you want to park there, just tell them that. And I think you know, I got free parking here. According to the National Forest website about this trail, there is free parking. But I didn't realize like there was an actual trail in this section. So I didn't really do research on this one beforehand. This was just kind of like a potential alternative spot. And I think it's really nice. And, you know, I'm happy I decided to make it to do the complete loop this time, because last time it was, you know, middle of the summer and extremely hot. But anyways, yeah, back to the trail. I just came down to the creek bed again from the trail, but what I'm gonna do is just, backtrack a little bit, you know, because I did see a really nice pond and it's not too far upstream. And I think given the time, the daylight, everything, I don't know exactly where I am, but in context with the road, miles to the road. But yeah, I'm really close to that pond actually, so I'm gonna stop by. I do get questions about fish sometimes, and I just saw a pretty big trout swimming up here. I think when it saw me, it got a little anxious. But yeah, there are certainly some big fish in this pool, and definitely at, like, you know, Piru Creek, Lake Piru, definitely a good fishing spot, you know. So yeah, anyways, but I'm gonna jump in here, I think, real quick. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice. A little shallow, but doable. Yeah, that was nice, you know. Good to kind of jump where I can. But that being said, I haven't seen a whole lot of like really deep spots here. You know, but it's different for Piru Creek. So you know, I think in the summer last year, I did Falls Gorge from Frenchman Flats, and that one, not much of a trail, and about 20 miles if you do it out and back. I would say that's a hard out and back. Although if you were backpacking, I think it would be pretty chill. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, so spaced out like kind of throughout that 9 to 10 miles it takes to get there, there are a few spots which are definitely, you know, deep enough to jump, but I personally didn't jump in a whole bunch of them because I was just trying to keep a good pace despite not having a trail, which can be a little difficult, especially if you're doing like a 20-mile thing, which requires a bunch of scrambling, you know, and going upstream, you know, did certainly take longer. But yeah, anyways, yeah, on the go. I'm gonna find that trail again and keep jogging. Looks like I'm leaving the Sespe Wilderness, you know. I don't know how much further I have to go, but yeah, I'm kind of lightly jogging, so we'll see. Just crossing this right here, and there was kind of a trout sort of hovering in place in the water, you know. But yeah, I noticed it just sort of swam away. But definitely fish here. I don't really know about the fishing regulations though. But yeah, if it's okay to fish, you'll probably catch some. Some of these views of the creek with the water reflecting the red rock are just magnificent. I think I'm pretty close to the road. I can't be that much further than maybe a mile or so. Might even be less, but yeah, just wow. This meadow is very beautiful. You know, you got all these wonderful yellow flowers. I think I'm on the right trail. I see what looked like some private property over there, but from what I recall, this trail does go through the private property, so good to be respectful, all that stuff. But yeah, this is Rancho Agua Blanca, and I think I'm okay to do this because I know that this is a loop trail, and yeah, you know, it even on the site when I looked it up a while ago, it did say that it did go through private property, but you know, be respectful. You might be able to bushwhack around it. I think it's fine. The trail is just kind of connected. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry. Not trying to trespass, but the trail led me to your ranch, whoever owns this. There was another trespassing sign there, but this is kind of the only way I have to go. So there is a nice little ranch there. But this is all, I think, private. There should be like an easement. I see other footprints here, so I think I'm in the clear. But yeah, definitely respect the property of others. I just saw some really gorgeous ducks. I don't know what kind they were. You know, they had these really like beautiful black heads with curly feathers and white bodies. But yeah, this is definitely a beautiful part of the creek. I don't know if this is Piru Creek or if Agua Blanca continues down this way, but I think this sort of looks like the right kind of water volume for Piru Creek. So yeah, very beautiful area, and definitely lots of wildlife here. This right here, this is actually pretty interesting. I don't know what it is, but there's a chance it could be a rare flower, maybe a more common flower, but it sort of reminds me to some extent of a jewel flower. I've seen some nice ones out near Santa Clarita that are more common variety, but I've also seen the Santa Barbara jewel flower, which is more rare. But anyways, yeah, pretty neat. If you know what this is, let me know, because I don't know what it is. It may be something I've just seen a bunch of, but it might have just stood out to me more here. But yeah, again, pretty weird, and I don't know what flower this is. I'm not used to seeing it, so yeah, let me know. There are a few more here, you know, so I don't know, they may be kind of common. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not really something I tend to see a lot of, so pretty neat in my opinion. But yeah, any flower experts, yeah, let me know what this is. I've actually been here before, so I may have said this earlier, but at one point I did jog from about, like, you know, where Lake Piru is, out along this road a ways. And yeah, there are certainly some neat caves up here. I might just climb up this real quick and go inside that one. All right, there is some graffiti here, and even up in this cave. But still, pretty cool spot, you know? So the thing I love about areas with more sandstone is to get beautiful sandstone caves, you know? So in my opinion, quite nice. One last scene before I get back to my car, which I think is just right around the bend and down. This is all very beautiful. Piru Creek flowing into Lake Piru. Magical creek. Definitely further up that way is where I've explored more. But down here it's just amazing too. And a bunch of cattle over there grazing. You know, there's those ranches back there. Just a wonderful area. So, you know, it is, you know, it's not dark yet, but the sun's behind the cliff here. So I should get going. But anyways, this has been a wonderful journey.